Okay, so like I want to like drop this idea about I want to look into my case about why CPS DCYF was called by the hospital when my daughter Elvina was born. Um, because I'm a firm believer that if I mean me and my girl were just getting clean. All right, we were just getting clean. I think we had a month clean at the Adams Family Shelter. Uh, Maybe a little longer. I mean, I'm bad with dates, but at the Adams Family Shelter, and we were already working on getting clean. So I wish I could go back because if I had the mindset I have now, I would have known to not sign any paperwork when Indian Irons came into our room, because DCYF doesn't give you the know-how like they give you make it seem like if you don't sign the paperwork, then you don't see your kid, all right, and if you sign the paperwork, then we work with you and you get to be returned home with your kid, all right. What they don't tell you is if you don't sign anything and take it to court, because they are taking your kid, you're automatically going to get a lawyer. All right, but because we signed the paperwork, now they're like, oh well, you agreed to it, So now we're here. All right. So I wish I could go back in time to it and not have signed the paperwork and not have my girl sign the paperwork, because then getting our daughter home would have been a whole lot easier and less bullshit would have gone on. I mean, we would have still had to have dealt with some shit, um, but I don't think it would have been as like long as it has been. I mean, but that's why I want to look up my case and find out like who exactly like per se not exactly but was a caseworker, was it a nurse, was it a doctor, you know um, that called CPS and or actually they called DCY because Indiana is DCY, not CPS. They're same organization but two different programs. But who called in the Irons to have them come down and what was said? Because, like I said, we were just getting clean, living at the Adams Family Shelter. So, like, I mean, like, there was no grounds to call CPS. And what we were told about how they found body lice was a load of shit. All right. But that's why I want to look into my case, find out exactly who and what and why they called, what was the grounds. I mean, the baby was just born, all right, and already had a spinal tap and shit. Like, I mean, like, no bruises, nothing like that, no complications in there. So, I mean, and like, mom and me were not like spazzed out of our fucking head. All right, and to my recollection, mom popped up negative for any drugs in her system, like nothing. All right, so like the baby came out, clean, no signs of drugs. I mean, to what we were told, unless they lied and said, nope, she has a lot of drugs. We need to call CPS. But like, um, I mean, and honestly, I mean, and just the way we were treated at the hospital. I mean, like, there's more that I can add in that I do think it holds weight on, my hope. But I just, I mean, I had another case open. She had another case open. So that's where I feel like that we would have still had to do some UAs, done some group, and this and all that, and it was whatever. I'm not gonna say like it didn't help us per se stay clean, um, but it was also way more fucking stressful and annoying and pointless, um, in my personal opinion. I mean, the group was all right. I just found out that I have a neighbor that actually was in my group, so that's interesting. Um, so yeah. So I mean, I met some cool people in group. Even my counselor, and it was cool. The only people I just didn't care for was the lawyers 50-50, but all the people that the child advocate and everything, and not really much. There was one, but she was more like, I don't know. She did some other class before us, Lauren Brown. But yeah, I want to jot this down because I'm looking over this paperwork um, that my girl's getting for child support, or that's how she's understanding about child support. They come after me for child support, but it's like they're kind of doing child support like I'm here taking care of. I'm already getting all my money to my kids in the house, and they buy them food and shit. So it's like, but me personally, I think it's more the fact that the system's coming after her to come after me to pay back funds that was used to take care of my child while my child was in the system, but my child would have not have had to be in the system if the hospital and DCY didn't lie and didn't work. If they would have worked more on keeping the family together instead of separating it to only bring it back together later, and just worked on keeping it together. I mean, we're already at Adams Family Shelter. All right, and then we got moved to the tiny house village, which I liked Adams Family Shelter better. The room was pretty big. I think we had a playpen and shit, and now we have like a whole lot of shit. So like we would have been good. I mean, like they didn't do drugs out there. They didn't do. I mean, I think the weed was like a 50-50. They don't. I think they had a thing about not having it on the property, but it also could have been just a rule like no smoking weed. Nothing in the place. No cigarette. No smoke. No cigarettes in the place. It was a pretty legit place. I liked it. Whether it was no weed on the property or whatever, I liked it. It was a good organization. Adams Family Shelter. But we were there. I mean, I think she's got almost 3 years clean. I've got a year and a half clean, I think. Something like that. Like I said, I'm bad with dates. But like we were already working on getting clean. I think I relapsed, a couple times, well, not throughout, my time, but like you relapse, and like I can understand if you got sucked back into it, then I consider that like a relapse. If you like did it once and got back into the game, got back into the drugs really, really bad, and went back to doing stupid shit and got caught again, then I consider that a relapse. But happened to come across it, whatnot. I mean, because I had bad luck, like with people giving it, like I meet random people and they want to give me free drugs, or I come across drugs, or I find drugs. Like I was doing my damnedest to run away from it. All right, but I just had that magnet for drugs. I guess drugs just came to me, like but like we were working on it. We were staying clean, and we weren't getting high. We were. Definitely not my girl. I mean, like I said, I relapsed. I'm not gonna fucking sugarcoat it. But we weren't out getting high. We weren't out, at all. Like, we weren't out diggling and shit. We were like sleeping. I mean, shit, I put on some fucking weight now. I'm at 220, 230. I think on the streets I was like 260, no, I was on the streets. I was 160, 170. All right, I'm now 220. All right. Like, so I put on some fucking weight. I mean, you see my face. We should see pictures of me back in the day. You could tell I'm not doing drugs. Am I still a little out there? Yes. Am I a little still off my rocker? Yes. Do I got a few screws loose still? Yes. Am I on drugs? No. Like, so I mean, I'm clean. So it's like I don't. And another thing with the whole court things, like I'm a firm believer that if back in the beginning, like after like a few months, 6 months, whatnot, I don't know how long the case has to be open before the kid can return home. But I'm a firm believer that if your drug counselor and whatnot, your 12-step program, whatever, guys, your sponsors, your lawyers, caseworkers, children's advocate, if everybody is on the same page, saying no, he's doing really good. I know it's only been 3 months, 6 months, but he's gotten a lot of shit done. He's gotten things accomplished. He's been doing good. Like we don't see no grounds to like, and it probably would happen more understandably, like if it was like if you've done like 75 to 90% of, all the shit. Like, but I'm a firm believer if all your people go to court and talk to the judge and say, hey, no. Like, I mean, like, we got no complaints, we got no issues, he's doing really good, he's missing a few, meetings here and there, but it's like, one, he's working, two, he's, doing, other programs, maybe he's doing this, maybe he's doing that. It's not like he's just not doing, shit, and just doing drugs, like, You know, it's not like he's just sleeping in and just saying, I don't feel like going today, you know. Like, there's actually a reason that he didn't go to that meeting, and be more, I mean, understand when realistic, you know, like when they come to the groups and all that, about how people have a life. Like, I get, like, you know, I fucked up, but it's like, in my predicament, it's like, I have a clean record. I'm 37. I got a clean record. You know, yeah, I smoked meth back in the day. You know, really hard to hide it that I did drugs back in the day. But like, my biggest problem was with like, drugs is not the reason why I got my kids taken. Not me personally. You know, so I can only speak so much on my behalf. Like, but like, I mean, my first case, my ex got the CPS, you know, brought in, but like, I didn't do anything to keep him out. You know, I let the drugs fucking have a lot more control over me than I thought. I thought I was all right. No, I was in it. You know, but like, I just didn't understand with this case. And on top of that, casework. I mean, like, with my personality, I can't deal with talking with women. And no offense to ladies out there, but there's nothing but female social workers and female. I like my second case and this case, or my first case in this case, like nothing but females, female lawyers, female caseworkers, female judges. I think I have one male judge, but he was a prick. Like, like my caseworker could have said so much shit. The judges could have, like, it's like the whole system's rigged against guys, you know. And I mean, you know, like, and I'm not gonna say like the whole court shit. It's like, I don't understand how the system works, but it's not the fact that I can't comprehend. It's that I can't understand why the system works that way. I understand how the system should work, how it's supposed to work, as a jets. You know, how the system is supposed to be dealt with, how it's supposed to be handled. You know, how the system should be handled, not how it is being handled. And that's what my biggest problem is. I have a problem with how it's being handled. Alright? I have a problem with how rehab's being dealt with. I mean, you know, I'm not saying like we have to like just demolish, you know, rehab and certain things. You know, CPS DCF, yes, I think we need to rewrite the whole thing. But if rehab works for, you know, a majority of like-minded individuals that just happen to, you know, have bad luck, do drugs and all that, then hey, you know, it works for you. I mean, I just don't think like I don't think with rehab, I don't think we need to act like this way works for everyone. All right, because that's my personal belief. I think they think it's gonna work for everyone. All right, you know, and it might help with a majority, like 50 to 60% of the human population, male population at least. But I just don't think it works for everybody. I mean, like, you know, but it was, you know, I did the groups, I did the UAs, like I think I had one that popped dirty. I mean, but I think it was mainly weed that popped up. I don't think I ever popped up a dirty UAA with, you know, meth, and she didn't, because I mean, she's got double, almost triple the time I have. All right, so, you know, I don't know. I came up mainly here just to write down some notes about, you know, my case and what I wanted to talk, but then I just ended up making a video. I definitely do think DCYF and CPS, one, need to be better at socializing. We're dealing more issues with DCYF. Like, they don't know how to run that thing. DCYF is so fucking poorly ran. And no offense, but it's mainly ran by women. Alright? Daycare is mainly women. No offense, and I understand the whole logic with daycare, why they don't want guys. Okay, I get it. You know, I kind of prefer, you know, if it was just women, but I also wish, you know, the daycares had more than fucking 4 to 6 fucking women there. I think they need 8 to 15. All right, like I think daycares need that, you know, or, you know, at least 8, whatnot, you know, in there, you know, and I mean, I think they need a lot more than 2 to 4 women to take care of 20 to 40 to 60 kids, and then you have like more, you know, daycares that are actually getting, you know, money from the system, and ones that are not getting money from the system. But I think, yeah, the whole system is just like, I had one. Like, I think it's really funny. I had one lawyer for my girl's oldest, Malanta, because I could have been the father. I was given one lawyer, and it was I asked for a guy because like my first lawyer was, my ex girlfriend, my baby mama's girlfriend's lawyer. So it was a conflict of interest. So she had to let me go, and then I asked for a male lawyer, and I get a male lawyer. He's pretty cool, old school, old man. But then I find out that I'm not, the father. So they cut me from the case. And they already are dividing me and her and all this shit. Just keeping a big wedge between us because they're focusing on her now. Because I have no say and I have nothing to lose in their heads. But that's it for right now.